Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Black Baseball Mixtape. I am your host, Cheats. Joining me on this very special episode is professional pitcher, my main man, Ronnie Williams, who is right now in Mexico City. He is living a situation, a dream, if you will, that most of us could only dream of, pitching professionally in Mexico right now. Ronnie, welcome to the mixtape, my man.
Happy to be here, man. This is long overdue. It's been a
It is.
while.
It is long over. A lot of people don't know the history. We'll get
Yeah.
into a little bit of it, but I've been a fan of this flamethrower now for a good minute from his days in the Giants organization in Richmond. There's a story that you might not even know. I think I might have told somebody around your camp that I wanted to buy the first ever Legacy 34 Richmond
Uh,
Schools jersey. And I was like, man, I really want the Ronnie Williams jersey, man. I got to get the Ronnie Williams jersey. And when these are minor league baseball for people that aren't
they,
familiar,
they auction it, right?
they auction off these jerseys.
Yeah.
So after the game, I'm online. I mean, man, I'm looking for a Ronnie Williams Legacy 34. This is the civil rights pioneers in Richmond. And I couldn't find a jersey anywhere. I could not find it. Went to my people in the Squirrels organization, and I was like, yo, what's up with the Ronnie Williams jersey? I really wanted to bid on that one. And they were like, nah, man. Ronnie was like, I got to keep that
Yeah. Yeah. I got it in my house.
one. That's dope,
Because
man.
I was
That's dope.
also I was also on the book for that week for that series, and they had my story and everything.
Absolutely. I
So I
remember.
wanted to keep it for memories. Yeah.
So in a small world, the in racism patch on the jersey.
Mm-hmm.
On the
Right. Yeah. Right at the
Yeah.
ribbon, kind of
So
looking thing. Yep.
that we designed that.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That
I
came
loved it. That's why I had to take it with me.
that little contribution, that patch, and they put it on the wall out there, and they had the in racism t-shirts. That was me and my mans that did that. So
Okay.
that was a little small backstory.
I had no
But
idea. Yeah, I had to take that one, man. I apologize.
nah, man, look, I'm glad if you like it. You know what I'm saying? If you
uh,
liked it, that means we did something. There was something that was done right in Richmond in your time there. And not to mention, look, we're going to get into all of it. I don't want to
yeah.
leapfrog the story, but I know as well you won a really big award in Richmond. I want to say like the Community Person of the Year award in
Yeah.
Richmond.
I
So
won the Pitcher of the Year in the community. Both of them.
fire.
Yeah.
That's absolute fire. But let's talk about, because we're going to get back into all of that and the reason why you won that award, the heart that you have for giving back. But I want to start with where you are now, because you are in Mexico City. I don't want to butcher the team name. Tell me right now what team you're on. I know you've been in Mexico for at least 2 seasons now, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So last year I joined the it's called the Diablo Rojos. And I was there last year. And this is my second year this year. It's amazing here, man. Like it's big league. I think I'm on the best team in Mexico, and our stadium is beautiful. They're actually gonna have the Mexican series here at our field this weekend. No, next weekend. I'm sorry. So with the Yankees came here in spring training, we played against the Yankees, which was cool.
Right.
I faced Stanton. I got to see a lot of the Yankee guys. I didn't pitch too well that game, but it's part of it. It was a good experience and good opportunity. But Mexico City, they treat me well here. I'm different, like you don't see many brothers in baseball, but a brother to be playing baseball in Mexico City on top of that is a blessing. They treat me well here. I love it. The fans are great. We pack out most of our games. When I travel, I get to see all of Mexico. We play in Cancun, Yucatan, all the beautiful places.
That's fantastic. So tell me, because I'm in my mind, I'm thinking how the fan base goes crazy for like global football or soccer, if you will, and certain other sports. In Mexico City, I'm under the impression that baseball is pretty big, but how big is baseball?
Um, Especially in Mexico City, it's really big, man. You got the OG fans, the new school fans. Our owner is younger now. His dad gave him the team. Our owner's like 26, so he's bringing the
Wow.
yeah. Yeah, great guy, man. He has the style. Walks around with all the new shoes. He's bringing the swag back, but is also has culture. The
Mm,
Diablos Rojos go way back.
mm,
They're a winning team. Like I said, the fans are amazing. They have a museum in the park. Well, like under. So when you enter the park, you can go under into the museum, and it shows the whole history of everything they've been through, all the championships they won, all the historic records they broken. It's a pretty cool experience. I wouldn't say it's as big as the football in Mexico because the football
that's
here is
the global
really,
game.
really, really good, but we're
Mm.
close. We're,
Oh
we're not too
wow!
far from it, man. We pack out for most of our games. I'll tell you that.
And so making a decision for you to even go to Mexico City and to play and be a part of that team, especially someone that has had success in the
Hmm.
United States, playing at a lot of different levels, playing in affiliate ball. I know just from personal experience and personal relationships, some folks will make a decision. You know, they'll make decisions whether it's, oh, I'm going to still stick in the States and play an indie ball or something of that nature. What? How did you come to the decision that Mexico City was the place for you, especially on such a historic team?
Well, my agent hit me up. I was a free agent. I had a bad AAA season. It was right when I came back from Korea, and it was just you know how baseball goes, man. I just had a bad couple months, and no team wanted to sign me from the States. So my agent was like, "Look, it's either indie ball or Mexico." And for me, I looked at the indie ball choices, and then I looked at Mexico, and he told me the team that I can play for, and I googled the Diablo Rojos, and I was like, "Oh man, this is big league." And once I saw the stadium, and I googled a few of their playoff games, and I saw how electric the crowd was, and how beautiful the baseball field was. I was like, I'll give this a try. And not to mention, in Mexico, the you make a lot more money than you would in any ball, and
Mm,
it's under the table. So I was like, all right, let's give this a try. It's a slam dunk. To be
mm,
honest, last year I didn't make the team out of camp. They sent me to the minor leagues for about 2 weeks and a half. I wasn't happy about that, but it is
mm.
what it is. Another grind experience.
Well,
Um,
that's something that I don't think a lot of people know because I didn't know that.
yeah, they
So
have
they
a
have tiers, just like kind of affiliate baseball.
well, they don't have a minor leagues. I got sent to their academy, so I'm
Okay,
I'm in the bunk beds with 16-year-olds and stuff. Man, it was back in rookie ball for me. It was a
that's
humbling
crazy.
experience. Thank God I didn't stay there for long because one of our
Mm,
guys ended up going to Taiwan, and I took his spot. And then
mhm.
once I took his spot, man, that was all she wrote. I was like, I love this place. I need to pitch good so I can stay here.
That's fantastic. Now,
Yeah.
that's a great story about the decision you made trying to. Is it something in your personality in regards to traveling? I don't know if you guys played on the same team, but I recently had Simon Bevins on the show, and he was talking
Living.
about, yeah, he was talking about playing all over the world just
Uh
in that
huh.
grind mode. It was the traveling something that you like to visit new places, take on new localities, or is this something that's kind of new to you when you first hit to Mexico?
Well, it wasn't new to me because the year before I was just in Korea. I was in
Okay.
a foreign country by myself, didn't know anybody, alone. But my personality, I'm a guy who likes to go out and travel and
Mm,
experience like the different cultures or the beaches at the place, or I'll go see the pyramids. So being around in this Mexican league, yeah, we play at a lot of beautiful places, and I enjoy it. So whenever I travel to a place, I'll Google like what's the famous thing to see here or where the place to
right.
go,
Sightseeing.
sightseeing and stuff. And I'll wake up early in the morning, and I'll go either by myself, or I'll grab a teammate or a trainer and go check it out. And that's pretty much stuff that I like to do, so I don't mind it. And as a starter, I pitch every fifth day, so sometimes I'll go on a road trip and I'll have 3 days at the road trip, but I'm not even pitching.
Mhm.
So then I really get to experience stuff. So yeah, it works out for me. I like the travel. I like that I get to see all around Mexico and the different cultures and stuff.
When it comes to baseball, especially as a starting pitcher, you like you said that fifth day rotation that seems very familiar. What are some of the biggest differences playing in Mexico City versus playing in the States?
There's not much of a difference. Like I said, to be honest, my Mexico City team, I get more treatment and more things done and more help with my routine than I did in the minor leagues.
Right.
Because Mexico City, they treat you like as you're a big leaguer. I
Mm.
felt like in the minor leagues, the Giants did really well at maintaining and doing the treatment and stuff. But there's so many guys, and like it's and when the big leaguers in rehab, like they have priority, of course. It's a respect thing.
Mm-hmm.
But here it's like we got 4 different trainers for like 25, 28-man roster. You can get whatever you need done. We have I think our gym is amazing. Sometimes in the minor leagues, your gym, some places didn't have a gym or you had to figure it out, or it would have been outside or something. So my
Cool.
it's pretty easy. Let's just say in Mexico City, I have everything to be prepared for my start. There's no excuse at all. I have the sauna, I have the hot tub, I can
Right.
have massages, I can have needling, whatever I need. So if you're not ready on your start date, it's something that you did wrong.
That's a good point, man. That's a good point because even just hearing you talk about it, you're exactly right. It sounds like because it is. It's the highest level of professional ball they have there. So it is it just hearing you describe it feels like the big leagues,
Yeah, man.
right? And it treats you accordingly, facility wise, resources wise, everything that you need to make sure that your start goes well. Is there a big challenge? Do most of the coaches, pitching coaches, managers, do they speak understand English, or do you have a
Yeah.
translator, or is there any language barrier kind of communicating with your?
Not really at all. Like my pitching coach speaks English. Most
Mhm.
of the guys do speak English. To be honest, our head coach this year is a brother.
Okay, who's your head coach?
His name's Lorenzo Bundy.
Okay,
Yeah,
we have to get a
he's our
little. We
head
have to get him on
coach.
the show.
Right now we're 6-0, so he's doing well.
Okay,
Yeah, he speaks English. We have an
yeah,
assistant coach, Dallas Williams, who played in the big leagues. He speaks
yeah.
English. All of our coaches speak English, actually.
Okay, yeah.
I don't
No,
have a
we gonna
problem
look. We gonna have to
communicating at
get. We
all.
gonna. I'm gonna have to learn. I'm gonna have to get down to Mexico City and learn
Yeah.
all everything because I know you will now run into other, like you're saying, other coaches, other players that you've known throughout your travels, but
Oh man, yeah.
also big
It's a
league
lot of
guys.
guys,
Yeah, a
man.
lot of guys that are in that league in the top division, living their best life.
I think this is the new indie ball, man. I think
Mhm.
this is gonna become the new indie ball because last year when I made the team, God, thank you God, it was only 7 foreigners and I made the team. This
Okay,
year we have 20. So I don't know if you've been paying attention,
a
but like
lot
I'm
of the
playing with
rules have
Robinson
changed.
Cano, Trevor Bauer's on my team,
Yep,
a bunch of
yep.
guys, Aquino, some guys I play with in Korea, Perella. Our lineup stacked. We have guys, man. It's pretty cool experience.
And I wonder if there's a little bit of a domino effect too, because I know some of the rules and professional Major League Baseball changed. The numbers of people that you can
Mhm.
accept, you know what I mean? The way that
Yeah,
the way that the pipeline works changed quite a bit. Where I hate to say it this way, but indie ball is not as necessarily attractive as it once was just a couple years ago in regards to getting kind of
yeah,
situation get picked up. It's some crazy things happen. A lot of it is above my head, what association negotiated, but there was, some of those top tier indie ball leagues just a few years ago were real pipelines, right? To get signed up. Some of that stuff has changed. Like there's just so
mhm,
many less players you can keep on a roster. It's more incentivized to
exactly.
keep younger players on a roster. So that's crazy.
Yeah.
Before we go back into the history, you had mentioned it a little bit, and I do want to ask Ronnie, as a black man playing in Mexico City, um, does it feel the same? Is there any particular challenges you face as an African American playing in Mexico City that maybe other folks don't have to face?
So I was here last year, and this is a good story. This is gonna be get good right here. So last year, in this year, I feel like no, it's a lot different than in the states. Here, I'm different. I'm a foreigner, and I feel like a superstar here. Like the fans love me. I walk around sometimes in restaurants, and people will come and ask for pictures and stuff. But the other day I had an incident. Um, I got off the mound. I celebrated. I said some choice words. Maybe I shouldn't have said, but it's in the moment competing. And one of their pitching coaches stands up and basically tells me like, "Hey, like, oh, you're talking all this bomb bomb. Meet me in the parking lot." So whatever. Where I come from, that's disrespectful. Like we're on a baseball field, we're talking trash on the baseball field. Okay, you take it to the streets, it's a different story for me. So whatever. I'm running my mouth. One of my team captains come over and tell me to cut it. So whatever. I cut it. I go back to the locker room. The next day, I'm very I don't forget much. I'm very competitive, and I take when you threaten me, I take it personal. So the next day, we're in the ninth inning. Our guy hits a home run, and I'm jumping up and down, talking trash, doing all this crazy stuff, and their third baseman starts walking towards the dugout, yapping at me, whatever. So I start running back out. My teammates grab me. I never even make it to him. On my way to the dugout, my back is turned, and I get somebody comes and pulls my hair, and I get blindsided, get punched in the
What?
head 5 times, right? Whatever. So I
That's
go back up.
crazy.
They break it up. I'm walking towards the other dugout. Another guy comes running. They wanted me bad, man, because I did well and I was talking trash. I was talking trash. It was a learning experience. Maybe I shouldn't have done it.
Mm.
Growing up, we talk trash, whatever. I was wrong because of what it led to. So whatever. The whole team trying to come get me in the dugout. Everything finishes. The brawl finishes. The next day comes. I come to find out I get an 8-game suspension. The guy who beat me up got a 2-game suspension. The guy who walked towards the dugout got 0. So in my head, I'm like, oh man, this is not fair.
Right. How did that happen? How the numbers aren't adding up.
Yeah, but it's my first experience of maybe it wasn't discrimination. Maybe I don't know what was told to the league, but I basically got an 8-game suspension for running my mouth, and a guy put his hands on me, which should be assault, and he got 2 games. So right now I'm sitting on that, and I'm just thinking, and I'm learning. So now I
Right.
know. Now I know to just play baseball and shut my mouth because there's some stuff that I can't do. They can do it to me, but I can't do it back. You see where I'm going here?
I see
So
where you're going there. That and it's interesting because so especially just from like highlights and watching, you know, kind of winter ball World Series, whether it's in the Caribbean or Venezuela or so forth, the actual showing of emotion seems more
mhm,
commonplace, right? Like if you're talking about the talking back and forth and the emotion and all that, that seems more commonplace. Now the states are getting there. They're
yeah,
getting there. But we have all of those what is it? Unwritten uh um arcane rules, right? Like unwritten arcane rules that have made MLB kind of boring for a long time. They're starting to go away, but it seemed like places like Mexico City and places
it's
that's where
okay.
the
It
emotions
seems
really
like.
get shown. Yeah. So is it more
Yeah,
flair? Is
it
it
is.
more
It
flash?
is. It's just more of I need to do it more of towards my team
Yeah.
instead of trying to show up the other team.
Yeah.
Like I said, I get competitive. They were talking trash. Maybe I got a little carried away. I
Yeah.
don't think so. But the end result is I got an 8-game suspension.
And
So
they
I'm just
didn't.
trying to tell people
Right. And
the
they
end
didn't.
result was an 8-game suspension. So I was wrong in something that I did.
I understand. I understand. But that, I even hearing that, it sounds to me coming from you that um in regards to navigating kind of who you are and being who you are, it doesn't seem like it's been overly difficult, any more so than we face we face as black people in the United States.
Yeah, yeah, in a sort of way. But that was my first experience. But out
Yeah.
out on the street and in public, it's like night and day. They're so nice
Yeah.
here, man. It's amazing people. I love Mexico.
Yeah.
I love Mexico City. A lot of people say it's dangerous, but yeah, it's dangerous if you're not where you're supposed to be, or if you're
Yeah.
going out being flashy and doing stuff that you shouldn't be doing. If
That's
you if you
crazy.
mind your business, go eat, do your thing, go play. It shouldn't be any problem. But if
That's
you're
and
if
that's
you're
like
if
any
you're
and
in
that's
a
like
dark
anywhere
alley
else.
at 3 a.m.
Right.
3 a.m. with your jewelry on and bling
Yeah.
bling, then yeah, of course something's gonna happen.
That's like anywhere else, though.
Yeah,
That'd be look in Richmond, Virginia. You be in the wrong place at the wrong time.
yeah,
You never
exactly.
know.
Yeah.
let's back it up, man. Let's back it up to the beginning because that
Okay.
that that part was fascinating as well. But I want to learn like who put the ball in your hand, man. How'd you fall in love with the game of baseball? Where did it start for you?
My pops, man. My pops, he went to Norfolk State and he got his degree playing baseball. He played at HML, Hialeah Miami Lakes in Miami. And since I was 4 years old, man, he had the baseball in my hand, and he would always tell me growing up that baseball is a game of life. And I didn't really understand it, man, until I got to pro ball, and I saw that baseball was teaching me life experiences, man, the ups and downs. Um, Sometimes there was stuff that was unfair that you had to get through. You had to learn how to build your own routine, how to build your own work ethic. uh Losing the game, doing terrible, and coming back the next day and bouncing back. You have bad days in life. You can't dwell on it. You got to move on and turn the page to the next chapter. Um,
No, that's right.
my
That's right.
my dad. We started baseball at the place. It was in the hood, man. It was baseball to me. I would grow up with people fighting on the basketball court, and I'm in center field watching them fight, but then also getting ready for the pitch and stuff. Like it,
So where was this? Where'd you grow up?
this is North Miami.
Mm.
It's called Claude Pepper Park.
Okay.
Kind of
Okay.
in the hood, but we would play in the All Stars. We would go play like Liberty City, like in the trenches, in the
Yeah,
trenches.
no, Liberty
Yeah,
City precedes
but
itself.
what made me, it was like some hardball stuff, man. Those brothers could play. It was a
Right.
team full of football players, but they would be butcher boying, slash, steal, bunt and run. They found a way to win. It was competitive. That's the baseball I grew up knowing.
Now, were you always a pitcher? Was pitching always a thing for you?
Now pitching. I would come in the close every now and then, but I was center field and shortstop,
Okay.
or wherever the coach told me to play, because that's what my dad taught me.
Hmm. And
So
I'm learning hearing from this experience in Florida, especially. You grew up playing around a lot of black and brown kids. Is that right?
so that's a funny story. So my dad, man, I love him to death. So I would be in two leagues. So we would play in the hood. That was my original team. And then he would drive about 45 minutes to Fort Lauderdale, where I was the only black guy in the park. So I'll tell you this
Word.
story. I just got done finished with my game at Pepper Park, which is in the hood. He goes, all right, son, I'm gonna drive you to Fort Lauderdale. You're gonna try out. They're gonna pick the team. Blah 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 blah. So I get there, and there's a line from home plate all the way around center field, and I'm by like in between third base and left field. I'm halfway down the line, and I'm looking around, and I call my dad. I'm like, come here, I'm like, Dad, I'm the only black person here. And he goes, I know, son. It's the same game. It's the same game.
Mm.
So whatever, I go in to try out my first two swings. I'm nervous. I miss it, and I step out and I look at my dad. He's like, "Hey, it's the same game."
Hmm.
So I finally hit. I'm running. They put me at shortstop. I'm throwing bullets across the diamond. So I get drafted by. They have like it's little league. This is
Little
the
League.
little
Okay, I was
league.
gonna say, how old were you? How old were you when this was happening?
Ooh, I want to say about maybe 9 or 10 years old.
Okay. Okay. Yep.
9 or 10 years old. So whatever, I end up making the team. My little brother ends up being on the team later on, but so I'm doing well in the league. I'm crushing the league, and one of the guys comes up. He's like, "Hey, Ronnie, ever play travel ball?" And my dad's like, "Nah, like we could never, we never really could afford it." But they were like, "Yeah, man, your son has a lot of talent." He's like, "We'll pay his way. We want him to join our travel team." So I ended up joining their travel team, man, and that's when I would say when I started travel ball, that's when I started learning like we're taking leads and stuff.
Yeah.
I had to learn how
Yeah.
to So as I'm playing travel ball, we had batting practice one day, right? And in the hood, man, my dad would take me every day batting practice. I'm taking reps in the cage.
Mhm.
Sometimes the ball will go out of the cage because it's a hole in the fence under. We have to
Right.
go get them later. The nets all messed up. We got to bring zip ties to keep
Yep.
the nets back. And so I had practice with my travel team later on. So I go from that cage to one of my teammates. The coach's son had a iron mic batting cage in his backyard.
In his backyard.
So
And you're like, what is going
I'm
on?
like, Dad, what is this? And he goes, yeah, son. Like, he's like, this is you're gonna get to experience this. So I'm in I'm just in this man's backyard, just bomb hitting off the iron mic, and I'm all excited. And I go to my dad. I'm like, wow, man, like I didn't even know like this guy has a cage in his backyard. I said, Dad, if I had that, I wouldn't leave. He's like, yeah, I know, son.
Right.
So that's my story of my dad
That's
giving
dope
me.
though.
Yeah, it's awesome, man, because it was two different kind of baseballs, man.
But it's
Like
the same game.
same game, but they played the game
Experience,
two
two
different
different
kind of ways.
experiences.
So
Yeah.
I was getting an experience of both, and it elevated my game because I'm learning a little over here, but I'm learning more over here that the rest of my guys were not learning.
Yep.
But when my dad was very intelligent and he knew the game, so my dad was my coach. Like he taught me
Mm-hmm.
how to pitch, he taught me everything. To this day, I'll call him after our outing and ask him what I did wrong.
Mm-hmm.
He knows the game and he loves the game. So for him to give me that experience was amazing, man. It was awesome
And it sounds like he was there with you the whole time.
every time.
And what I mean by that is, at 9, 10, 11 years old, people don't really fully understand what a microaggression is, right?
Hmm.
They don't understand that if all the kids get to spend the night at some place, you might not get to spend the night, and you don't understand why, right?
Yeah,
So having your pops there seems like at least you had someone. Now I'm not. I mean, I'm sure it sounds like teammates. It seems like you had a good experience. Just
yeah,
hearing you talk about it, teammates treated you well and so forth. But there's having somebody that looks like you, that knows you in and out, that you can relate to when times do get difficult. It seemed like that has always been an advantage, right?
yeah. And it taught me work ethic. Why? Because it would be stuff like this. My dad would come home from get us from school from work. He's changing into his baseball stuff at a red light while we're in the car. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to practice there, and then after that practice, I'm driving 45 minutes to catch the game in Fort Lauderdale with my travel team.
Mm-hmm.
But he always made me play both. He always made me play both.
So
Now I know why. Before I was like, why am I still playing over here in the hood if I got this? But it kept me, it kept me from my roots. He kept me there to see like it can be this and it can be this too.
then, did you play other sports growing up?
I didn't start playing football until I was 14. And that's
Okay.
because my little brother was a football player. And I was like, Dad, why can't I play? He's like, oh, I didn't know you wanted to play, son. So they put me on the football team. Happened to be really good. And that dream ended when I got to high school and I started playing baseball well.
Right,
So
right.
yeah.
When did pitching come in the fold for you then?
So pitching didn't come in the full for me to my junior year and really my senior year. Cause
Really?
yeah, so I was playing shortstop and center field. They would bring me in the close. And then one day they brought me in the close and I was throwing 93. So
In high
scouts,
school?
yeah, in high school.
Jesus.
So this is another crazy story, man. I got a bunch. So my junior year, I was just coming in the close. I was still playing. I was hitting, being an athlete. My senior year came, and my coach, which I believe he's the third base coach for the Cincinnati Reds right now. His name's Ricky Gutierrez.
Mm.
He comes up to me. He's like, "Hey, man, I think you got a future in baseball, but on the mound. So I want to make you a pitcher only." And I hated it, man. I would ask him every day, "Hey, can I swing it?" Da, da, da. He's like, "Nope." He's
No.
like, "Nope." He's like, "I need to protect you. You're gonna be a pitcher." So next thing you know, man, I'm all in the pitching. I see scouts coming to the game, like 20 of them, man. Guns coming up after every pitch. Guns coming up until this one day we play. It's called American Heritage. They're a private school.
Mm.
And it's actually a funny story. One of my good friends, he actually makes these like poly chains. Like
Oh,
he's the creator,
Millie,
Miller
was it?
Ramos.
Yeah.
So
The
man,
chains are blowing up. Like everybody has the chains now. So there you
yeah.
go.
So he texts me in a group chat because we're all boys, and he's like, "Oh, we're gonna rip your shit. Like we're gonna tee off on you, da 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 da. And I haven't really perfected pitching. It was kind of new to me, but I threw hard, so people were attracted, right? So we get to that game, and I'm pissed off because I'm a competitor. He's talking trash to me. My first pitch, 95. Then I go 96, 96, 97. And
Wow.
my dad, I come over, he's like, son, he's like, you're throwing 95, 96. And I go, really? I said, Milton just pissed me off because he was talking this, da 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 da. And he's like, well, just keep getting mad because it's working. So
Wow.
from then on, I would just find something that would get me going or get me mad. And little do you know, by the end of my senior year, man, I got drafted in the second round.
That's
I didn't start throwing hard.
crazy.
I didn't start throwing hard until that day he started talking trash to me.
Yo, shout out to Polly J. Yo, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy story. That's a crazy story.
It's on YouTube also. If you look
Man.
up Ronnie Williams and Milton, it shows the scout. He goes, and then he shows the guy like, yo, like 97.
That's
and ever since then, man, I learned. I took off. It's crazy how it worked out.
His last name Ramos, Milton Ramos. Is that what it is?
Milton Ramos.
Yeah, nah, man. I'm telling you. Look, I haven't got the sauce yet, but I know quite a few of the major league players, our friends at Bat Boys, everybody. So shout out Milton Ramos.
Yeah,
that's a great story, Rod. That's a great story for real, for real. And then so drafted in the second round. So that leads to another decision you have to make. Now, at this time, were you committed to college? Were you obviously you were heavily being recruited? But had you made a college decision and then took the draft, or?
Yep, and this was the decision from my heart. So I had most of the Florida schools, like UM. I had to visit there, UCF, but I committed to FAMU. I committed to FAMU. Why? Because he said he was gonna allow me to play both ways, and I was like, oh, okay. That's what got me over there. And then my whole family's like they're from FAMU or Bethune-Cookman. So I grew up going to the
We have to stop. We have to stop though. We have to stop. Because again, now I'm glad you gave me the background. Because now I understand that you understand a foot in one place playing ball and a foot in another place playing ball, right? So you have that knowledge that a lot of people don't have, especially in the state of Florida, right? Dramatic swings playing in one place and playing in another. But you mean to tell me you went to recruiting visits at places like UM and in those schools, and you went to recruiting visits at FAMU, and you were like, I'm going to go to FAMU.
Yep.
FAMU's got great history. Andre Dawson went to FAMU. Shout out Andre Dawson went to FAMU. It was, who else went to FAMU? You know the man, Jared Lorenz, Fear of God.
Yep.
FAMU baseball player, right?
What's his name? Morency, I think. No.
I don't know. But
no, it's another name that I'm missing.
Okay.
But
Ronnie Williams was committed to FAMU. Now look, getting drafted in the second round, there's not a choice.
Yeah. There wasn't a choice. Yeah. There was no ifs, ands, or buts about that one.
No major.
At the time, I didn't know that was coming. But God has his plan, man. And the reason I saw FAMU is that they're still playing all these D1 schools.
Yep.
So if I can go pitch good at the D1 school, I can be the ace on FAMU and show my talent that I'm shoving against these D1 schools. So when we played the UMs or we played the FSUs, I knew I was going to get the rock.
Yep.
And that's when I was going to show my talent. And then I can go play center field after. I was like, yeah, it's a dream come true, you know?
And you get to go to FAMU.
Yeah. And it's right across the street from FSU, right across the train tracks.
Right. No disrespect, but you also get to go to FAMU. There's a whole situation. Now again, Florida State's a huge school. People don't really know. Miami's a little bit different than people think. Like people, if you've never been to Coral Gables and you think it is what you see on like the U or ESPN, it's a little different than that. It's not. It's real small, right?
Yeah, it's not big at all. It's that
Exactly. But Florida State's huge.
Yeah,
FAMU is FAMU. So, I mean, who knows? Your life could have changed
Yeah,
for a whole
you
different
never
reason.
know over there.
Oh man, so that's a great story. I love hearing that, and I love hearing um just about. Let me we're gonna go back, but what landed you were what similar decision from Mexico to go to Korea? Like how did you get to Korea?
Well, so Korea, I was in winter ball at the time in Puerto Rico playing winter
Hmm.
ball, and my agent called me up and he's like, "Hey man, I think I have an opportunity in Korea." By the way, my agent is amazing. I think he's one of the best in the game. His name's Brian Grieper with Paragon Sports. He's the man. So I'm this is crazy because this is coming off my Richmond season, which I won pitcher of the year.
Yes,
So
we're gonna go back. We're gonna go back, but
yeah,
I didn't want to.
so I get to winter ball and I get a call from my agent. He's like, "Hey Ronnie, I think I have I think I have traction in Korea for you." And at first I'm like, Korea? I'm not going to Korea. So
Never
so
been. I'm,
yeah, so he
I
calls
could
back
not.
and then he tells me the amount that Korea is offering. And I say, "Oh, yeah, I can go to Korea."
Oh man. Nah,
So
I mean, obviously they played they played the Seoul games there this year, and
mhm.
so I got to see my a friend of mine, I consider a friend, Xavier Shrugs, got to,
Mhm.
he played in Korea for me. He got to go back home and did all these videos about X going home to Korea, or not home, but going over
Yeah.
there and visiting. And so he's really one of the only players that I knew that was out there, and like was making seasons out there.
Yeah.
Um, but so we learned about the Mexico experience. Being black in Korea, is that any different?
Man, amazing. Amazing. Amazing.
It was a good experience.
Amazing. Just different, man.
Okay.
Like even so there was different. I would go to restaurants and I sometimes I couldn't even go out. I would get rushed. If I was to leave the restaurant, I would get rushed for pictures. People
Word.
grabbing my hair, lonely, lonely, a picture, selfie, selfie. Like there I was really, really a superstar. Like
You were a celebrity.
I was really I think I've only seen I was in Korea for 8 months. I saw one other black person. One other
Wow. No,
yeah.
did it feel isolated at all? Like, did it
No,
feel lonely?
because the people were nice. Some people
Okay.
speak English. It didn't feel isolated. I'm one that I know how to be alone. So
Okay.
like I'm going out to restaurants and eating by myself and stuff, or I'll go to a bar and check it out by myself. And so
Mm.
I became friends with the bartender who was from Russia. Um, I met the other black guy that I met was a DJ, but he was from Africa. So it was like a melting pot, but
Yeah.
it was just amazing to see the culture. And then Korea, I ain't gonna lie, when I got to Korea, I was like, wow. I was like, this is kind of better than the States, man. Like
Really?
everything's kind of perfect there. Like there's no trash. I had to separate my garbage in like 5 different disposals, take the wrapper off my plastic bottles. There was no crime. If you were
That's
to leave your
crazy.
if you were to leave your wallet at Starbucks, leave it on the table for 3 days, it would stay right there. Nobody would touch it.
Really?
Stuff like that. Or you'll see
That
stores open 24/7 with no security that you can just go buy it and they trust that you're gonna pay. It's just good people, man. Like because they're in Korea, they care about the name. Like you don't want to ruin your
yeah,
name. Like
yeah. There's some tradition
no
there. It's just different.
drugs. You don't. I didn't see many
That's
homeless
crazy.
people.
That's crazy.
Great
I got
experience.
I gotta look. I'm glad, man. You had a great experience there. All right, got a couple more things because you've been very generous with your time, but I definitely want to talk about just your experience. Obviously, playing here in affiliate ball as well. Drafted in the second round. That's a pretty. It's not like any other sport because the baseball draft is like
Don't mean
172 rounds, all of all of these different slots, all of these different negotiations. So when you talk about a second round pick, you might as well be, you know what I'm saying, a you're usually the top prospect in an organization just by being a second round pick because it was the way that the draft and all of that works. did you feel going in with such a high draft pick? Did you feel any extra like additional pressure to perform? How did you get through, having that tag of being a high draft pick and then like getting to do your work?
Okay, so at the beginning of it, I I was looked at by the other guys. I was called a Cardinal baby, whatever, because I got
What,
signed.
what's
I
that
was
mean?
with,
I've never heard that before.
I was signed with the St. Louis Cardinals, so I was the Cardinal baby because I made a lot of money, so that they would call me that.
I've
Um,
never heard that. That's
yeah,
crazy.
they're Cardinal baby, Cardinal baby. But as I got into it, to be honest, man, the Cardinals were such a competitive organization. They
Mm,
had going into my draft, I had guys that are in the big leagues today, Jack Flaherty, Sandy
mhm,
Alcantara. I was competing with those guys, so it was very competitive. Long story short, man, the way I was raised, my dad taught me to be a sponge. When I got there my second year, they changed everything about me. Everything. So I got a little mechanical.
mhm.
My stuff wasn't the same. Um, and I really didn't really get my mojo back, and I didn't feel like myself until I got to, I would say, high A, which is like 4 years in.
Mhm.
But that third year, they brought me in the office. They're like, "Look, Ronnie, we're sorry that we tried to do this, and that. Here's a video. We want you to go back to doing what you were doing in high school."
Forget everything. You
Yeah.
know how many times you hear that though?
Mm-hmm.
Like you seriously, you know how many times you hear really legendary hitter Sean Casey, the mayor Sean Casey tells a story about like, he had hit everywhere in his whole life, everywhere in his whole life. He like led Division 1 his senior year. He like led all of Division 1 in hitting, and he gets to the, I want to say it was like the Cleveland organization, and they want to change everything, and he's
Yeah.
batting like 180, 175, and ultimately he was like, "Look, I tried it your way this whole time, and I'm batting like under 200."
See, that's what I didn't learn, man. I didn't learn that until I got to Mexico.
Wow.
And now in Mexico, I've been doing well. Like I found myself, I got my confidence, I got my swagger. I felt like affiliate ball took away my, not only my confidence because I was doing well at times and didn't get called up, but
Mhm.
it took away me from being myself. Because I was always worried about, dang, if I do this, am I gonna get called up? Or can I do this? Can I do that? Instead of just having fun and playing the game. I would say I was always like this, like tight, like always worried about getting released or trying to do what they wanted me to do instead of just
Mhm.
going out there and playing the game that I played since a little kid. And I never really understood that. Even my last year in AAA, man, I just won pitcher of the year. I
Yep.
went to Korea. I came back to AAA,
Yep.
and they're like, "Look, Ronnie, your stuff's nasty, but if you don't learn this slider, you won't make it to the big leagues with us." So I put in all my
Really?
work to learn this slider, learn this slider. By the end of the season, it was an okay pitch, but I go, all right, now I'm gonna go into the off season and I'm gonna perfect it. I'm gonna perfect it, come back to spring training, and boom, I'm gonna be in the big leagues because I learned it. So I go to winter ball, Puerto Rico, back to Puerto Rico. I learned this slider, nasty. We won the championship.
Mhm.
Season comes around, nobody wants me. The Giants don't want to pick me back up. We're calling teams. They're like, he looks good, but his numbers from AAA were terrible last year.
Mm.
Not to mention the last game of the season, I said I'm not gonna throw the slider. I'm just gonna do my stuff and go perform. I went 5 innings with I went 6 innings with like 2 runs. So
That's
I'm feeling
crazy.
good. I'm like, dang, I
Yep.
can pitch again. Once I get this slider, I'm gonna be unstoppable. Nobody wanted me. But the thing is, I learned the slider and I brought it to Mexico.
Mhm.
So now that I had that slider, I felt like I was a complete front end starter. I had all my weapons, and I went in and I applied it last year in Mexico, and I had one of the best seasons of my career.
That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of you know what? A lot of people don't talk about that level of tension, right? Like what I mean by that is for for whatever reason, that's not something they want to be openly talking about. The fact that like, yo, there's a lot of things changing. I'm learning things. Now, mind you, I've been playing this game my whole life, but now certain people are teaching me certain different things. And if there's a tension there, right? Where it's like, if this don't work, like I might be, I'm looking over my shoulder. Like, am I going to get sent down? Am I sent up? If I got sent down, I've talked to so many, because this Richmond is a double A city.
Yep.
And double A is a very interesting level of baseball, professional baseball. It's a level where you get all of the studs, right? All of the studs at their
making their way
level.
through to the
And
big
then you also get, like, the vets that's like, yo, if I'm still at double A and I'm looking around and now I'm in my later 20s, or I'm in now, again, some people make a career out of that. One of your former teammates now, who is I think he's a coach in the Giants organization now, Jacob Hayward, but he a lot of double A seasons.
Yeah.
Right. So it was like you had such just like this real interesting kind of make or break at a point.
Exactly.
And so it's interesting the way that you describe it, because now that you've mentioned it, I'm thinking back in my mind, there's so many players that I can think of that's like, man, if I don't hit, if I don't perform, if I don't, they want to bring this kid's in high A. They want to bring him.
You know they're coming.
Oh man!
But the crazy thing about all that is, like, I'll see some guys like, no, I'm not doing that. And for me, coming from where I come from, like my dad, like, oh, that's disrespectful. That's not being coachable. But I learned that it's like sometimes you have to do it to benefit your career. But I didn't learn that until now that I'm out of affiliate ball.
Right.
And that's another thing.
Right.
I didn't have my confidence because kind of in affiliate ball, every time I had my best season, I wasn't the one that got called up some of the time. So I'm sitting back like, dang, I just led the team in ERA and I didn't get called up. Am I not that good? I'm being straight up about this. I started thinking like, okay, I might not be that good. It's some reason why they're not calling me up. I don't know what it is. And you never know. You never know what's going on in the front office. Some guys they have a plan for.
They got plans for it.
You don't look good. But like, that's another thing. I didn't get my confidence back until last year in Mexico.
Wow.
Because my whole career I'm playing like, oh, you have to be perfect. If I gave up a hit, I was thought like, oh, I had to change something. I'm not supposed to give up a hit.
Right.
But then I realized like these guys are getting paid to hit too. So once I learned how to accept failure, and when I say accept failure, like really be okay with it. Like I would spend nights if I got like I would go 6 shutty and I would give up maybe a home run or a couple hits or something, and the whole night I'll be like, dang, why did I give up those hits? Like, what could I have done better? In reality, I'm human. Yep. These guys are paid to hit. I'm paid
professionals.
To hit.
They are professionals like you are.
Once I learned how to fail and put it out the window, but also keep my confidence like, oh, okay, they just got lucky today, or I just had a bad day. It's not going to happen again. That's when I saw myself escalate. That's when I see myself like just rising. Like it's still going on to this day.
Yeah.
Ever since I got that in my mindset, I can't be stopped because now I'm going to compete.
So I guess the question when I hear that, I'm wondering to myself, who mentorship? Like, I know you talk about your pops and being able to work things through with your pops, but did you feel like there were people that you could talk to that maybe could have got you to that place faster? Or was this something you were kind of internalizing as you went through?
My pops everybody was saying like, hey man, this baseball is going to happen. But I really didn't see it till one year when I went to winter ball, DR, one of the best winter balls in the world.
Absolutely.
And I saw guys going like they would go 6 innings and give up 3 runs or 4 runs, and they would get the win, and they'll get interviewed after the game, and everybody was cheering them on. And I'm like, 6 innings with 3 or 4 runs, that's not good. Like,
right.
For me, I would always like
you're confused.
I would shoot to have a 2.5 ERA or below.
Right. But so you're confused.
Yeah, since I was a baby, that was me. I wanted to have a 3. A 3 looked good. Like a 3's fine, but I wanted under a 3 to look amazing. But then I realized if I go out, if I have a quality start, which is 6 innings and 3 runs every time, which people get paid for, that's a 4.5 ERA.
Yep.
So then that brought me back, and I'm like, dang, maybe you're too hard on yourself.
Right.
And once I realized that part of it, that failure is not always what I think, Because for me, if I give up a run, if I give up a hit, for me that's failure. That's how I used to be. I was so hard on myself. But once I accepted, like, okay, we're gonna shoot for quality starts. Once I shot for quality starts, then it's like, okay, now you do better than a quality start. Now you're on your game. But my low now is a quality start, which ain't bad, you know?
So did you get there on your own, or was
Yeah, I
just
think I
your
got
life
there just from
experience?
watching, just
Yeah, I was like you
experiencing
said, there was
baseball.
nothing, not a single moment that you were like, all right, I'm gonna let it.
Yeah,
Like
just
it
from
kind of
watching.
worked your way through a process.
But I didn't learn it till my 10th season, which was last year, which is crazy.
That is that. Hey, look, at least you know it now, because that
Yeah,
mentality is gonna carry you through
now I'm
as
good.
you go through.
I don't worry now. Now I'm good. The only thing that can stop me now is injury. God forbid. You never know what can happen. But you'll hear about my name, man. Like I figured it out. It's and that's what I want to tell the people, man. It's mental. It's
Mhm.
all mental. Cause like you said, I went second round. I had the tools
Yeah.
for somebody to take me in the second round and give me all that money. I had the tools since I started playing baseball. It
Mhm.
was all mental. It's all mental.
So shake it out, shake it out. Let's have some fun, because I think that is, I think people are gonna get a lot of value out of that as well. But I want to shake it out. Who were your guys growing up? I call it the big three. If you could name three guys, who were the
Okay.
people that you rooted for, that you were like, yo, I want to be like these guys, or I just want to cheer these guys on?
So I didn't really have a favorite player until I got a little older.
Mhm.
But I would say King Griffey Jr. I got to give you four because I
Okay.
gotta I gotta go King Griffey Jr., Hanley Ramirez because he
Hmm.
played for the Marlins
Yep.
and I will watch him. Yodana Ventura and present day Marcus Stroman. Big fan of the guy. A lot of people hate him. They don't like his antics. I love him. I think he's the swaggiest thing out there.
You think? He is super swaggy.
Yeah.
He's in New York City now
And
with
he
the
puts
do.
his numbers. He puts up his numbers, man. You
Yeah.
can't. The numbers don't lie.
No, no, I like Stro a lot. We were talking. We had a discussion on our message board. Actually, it might have been on the Instagram page about who we think is the most underrated black player in Major League Baseball right now. And Stroman's name came up a little bit. Stroman's name came up quite a bit. So he gets a lot of respect. I think I'm glad he got the Yankee deal. I'm glad he
Yeah.
got the Yankee deal, because I think he wanted to go there. I think it fit. He was the opening day starter for the Cubs last year and does a lot of stuff off the field, which is a good segue to your career, which is one, especially in Richmond. I know obviously overseas it's a little bit different, but in Richmond, you won Pitcher of the Year, you won the Community Award, because you always kind of made time for the community, made time for kids at the stadium and beyond. Where does that part of your character? This isn't on the field. This isn't an on the field award. This is an off the field award. Where did that part of your character come from?
Well, a couple things. I grew up in the RBI program, reviving baseball in inner cities. And I think that's really when I fell in love with baseball. Like when I saw how they the RBI is like you play in your inner city. It's a bunch of cities, but at the end there's an all-star team,
Hmm.
and we play like Atlanta's inner city. We play Philadelphia's inner city, all around the Baltimore Orioles inner city, and they would have a tournament, and we would go to Jackie Robinson in Vero Beach, the Jackie
Hmm.
Robinson complex, but they would give us the uniforms, the big league uniforms. We would have a schedule like the big leagues hitting the cage, and I got to experience it what it is to be basically now that I know how they ran it in the minors. So we will be in the minors running it through
Right.
like the minor leagues in these uniforms and all the nice gear, and we'll be in a tournament, a round
That's
robin
dope.
tournament, playing against all the other states of their
Yeah,
all star
nah,
inner
I'm a
city.
big fan of RBI. Shout out my man David James. I see you,
Mm-hmm.
David.
Uh, I also got to play in the Breakthrough Series, which I got. They flew me out to Houston, and
Yep.
I played in the Houston Astros stadium. And
Okay.
that's when they picked the best players from each of the
Yep.
teams, and they made two different teams. So that was a good experience too. And I just remember as a little kid, like when those big leaguers would come to me and
Hmm.
they would talk to me, that would mean something to me. There was a guy named George Barber who he went through the minors and he would come back and talk to us. And man, I looked at him like he was God, man. Like I remember it like it was yesterday when he would talk. I was like, man, that's a brother that's in the minors. He's doing it. And I remember one thing he said. He said, man, when you get there, you're there for a reason. Don't let them change you.
Mm.
And I remember he said that, but I didn't take it into account while I was going through the minors.
Mm. That's powerful. That's
So
powerful.
So whenever I had an opportunity to go out and be with these little kids, I was like, I can't miss that because
Right.
that's something that I had when I was younger that changed my life.
Mm.
In baseball, and who knows, like I had a couple kids that I can tell that they were kind of from the hood, and they would come and they'd be like, hey, like Ronnie, what's up? They remember my name. But all I know is like when I was on the baseball field, man, some of my friends would be home, some of them would be going getting arrested, some of them getting shot, some of them getting
Mm.
in fights after school, some of them doing drugs. And I would hear about this the next day at school. Why? Because I was at the baseball field when all this happened.
Right. You were
So
nowhere to be found.
no, so I would
Yeah.
say in a way, my parents gave me structure. Don't get me wrong, but I could have been also in the streets, but instead I was in baseball. So
Mm.
I knew about it. Sometimes after school, because my practice didn't start till like an hour and a half, I would go with my friends and I would see some stuff, some stuff that maybe I shouldn't have seen, but they would always call me Ronald. They'd be like, Ronald, man, you get away from us, bro. Like you got that baseball stuff, bro.
Right.
You gonna play that
Mm.
baseball. You gonna go play that baseball. So my boys would always be like, "Man, go play baseball. Like, get out of here, man. Why you over here?" But I just used to be like being around the crowd because those are my boys. I came up
Yep.
elementary school with them and stuff, you know. But every time, like Trayvon Martin was my boy. Actually, that's a crazy story.
Are you serious?
Trayvon Martin. We the day before he left up to Orlando to visit his dad. I remember, man. This is we were. I was walking by the ice cream truck. And he goes, "Yeah, man. They found something in my book bag. I forgot what it was. But he's like, yeah. And then he was fighting. He got in a fight also. He's like, yeah, I got suspended from school twice, two times in 2 weeks, and my mom's sending me up to my dad. Long story short, we
That's
see on the news
crazy.
that the George For that I mean, sorry, that
George somebody.
yeah, I forgot his name. That the guy shot him and killed him.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, I was just talking to this man. Once again, I was on the
Right.
baseball field.
That's
So
crazy.
long
That's a
story short,
crazy
man,
story.
baseball pretty much, I wouldn't say it saved my life, but it kept me out of things that I shouldn't be in.
And
It
that
kept
and
me out of
that's
things that I shouldn't be in.
and there's so much to all of that. What I mean by that is I've heard from Hall of Fame players talk about, oh, I had an encounter with a pro player when I was younger. And that was life changing in many ways. CC Sabathia tells the story. He met Dave Stewart when
Mm-hmm.
he was growing up, and it really kind of changed his situation. So, not only did you have that experience where you got to meet pro players through doing things with RBI and that stuff, but you have now been the pro player that I've seen when you were in Richmond. I've seen you signing autographs. I've seen you do a
I
lot of
love all of
things.
it, man.
And
All
so
that stuff.
that's we're just, you know what? We're gonna end it there because that's such a great message about just giving back and using that part of your character, like using the platform that you have to even extend it beyond what happens on the field. So that's a dope one. We're gonna leave it at that point. What you
I
got?
want to
You
add.
guys?
I want to add something in
Yeah,
because
yeah,
there
yeah.
there was a question that you said about why do you think that a lot of players of African American descent are not playing baseball?
Always.
And
I always try to ask. I always try to ask what can I think the question is always what can we do to get more black and brown kids to play baseball?
as I stated, I think we just need to go out and show them that it's okay to play baseball. That it's not. So when I was in middle school, people would say, "Oh, you're playing a white boy sport." Da 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 da. Then I had to go in PE and show them on the football field that I can get down like that too. Then I got my respect. But I just feel like first of all, it prices us out of the game.
Hmm.
So I would say anybody that if you're in the inner city and you can afford to take maybe a few kids, just train them for free, man. get them used to the game, just get them around the game. And for parents that have younger kids, just keep them in the game. Just keep them in the game no matter what. They can play football, they can play basketball, but keep them around baseball. Even all the way, I think until they get to high school, just keep them around. I think they'll come along. I
Hmm.
think once you get past the little kid stage of, because it's gonna be hard. You might be the only black
Mhm.
person on your
Yep.
team.
Yep.
A coach might not play you
Yep.
because they call you raw. They think you're raw talented. Whatever. I think that my advice to parents that have younger African American sons, to just keep them around the game. Keep them
Hmm.
around the game as long as possible, and I think eventually they'll fall in love with it.
I think that's good advice, man. I got a 9-year-old now that plays other sports, but he plays baseball, and we he enjoys. We obviously, like I said, we're in Richmond, so we always enjoy. We do a lot of stuff, a lot of stuff at the Squirrels games, and we enjoy it. But seeing him around the scene, just the scene
Mm-hmm.
of baseball and and the environment of baseball and the experiences, he may not be a player, he is up in the press box and he's looking at the booth and he's doing YouTube shorts with players and asking them questions and things like that.
That's
So
amazing.
I know that whether he becomes a player or not, just like him being around the game is something that we I always think we have to expand. Kind of, I think our community always has a narrow view. And what I mean by that is it doesn't matter if it's just baseball. I think a lot of our community is athlete or bust. And they don't
Yeah.
understand that if, even if it's football or even if it's baseball or even if it's soccer, there's all of these jobs. There's all of these jobs around the game.
Mm-hmm.
So, but the mentality so much is athlete or bust. They don't know, like, yo, this assistant GM at 28 years old and he's a analytics specialist or whatever is making more money than half
And
the dudes
yeah, the
in the
analytic guys.
organization. Yeah, so I always wanted to expand that field. But this is fantastic, Ronnie. Yo, this is great. Let everybody know where they can follow you, where they can keep up with your career because you be doing some things. I be checking that IG page. You be getting some things going on.
Yeah, I soak it all in, man. Because at the end of the day, like I said, this game changed my life, and I'm grateful and I'm passionate about it. And I'm gonna play as long as I can because I won't ever take it for granted, man. Because it's just beautiful what baseball's brought to me. I've been around the world. I've seen a bunch of stuff because of baseball, man. I'm here because of baseball.
Well, there you go. We're gonna have to leave it there. Where can people follow you real quick?
RO_show 8 on Instagram, and I don't have a Twitter anymore.
Okay.
That's about it. Yeah.
That's about it. And that's about it for this edition of the Black Baseball Mixtape. As always, please like, rate, review, share, subscribe, do everything you can. This has been a pleasure, my man. We'll catch you next time. We're out.
Thank you for having me, man.